In budget cuts, Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn is calling on President Obama to cancel a 100-city campaign-style tour designed to help cities apply for federal grants and other aid. Angela McGlowan is a Fox News political analyst. Mark Hannah is an adjunct professor of media studies at the New School and a former aide to the John Kerry and Barack Obama presidential campaigns. Mark and Angela, good day to you. Thank you for joining us. As you both know, Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma sent a letter to the White House, and in it he asked, and I'm quoting here, if Washington is truly cutting spending on missions many consider vital, how can we at the same time promise and promote more financial assistance, much less afford this mammoth 100-city cross-country tour, wrote Coburn. And while he talked about that, and while it's well-intentioned, he's urging the president to actually cancel this tour. Mark, what do you think about that?
Hey, Kelly, I think that Senator Coburn really does live up to his reputation as and his nickname as Dr. No in the Senate. If there's any one senator that would take issue with the American president going city to city and town to town throughout the country and informing Americans and local governments about the programs that are available to them through their taxpayer dollars, it would be him. I don't think there's anything really controversial about members of the federal government, members of the administration, to go and have these information sessions with people. But this conversation is pretty premature. It hasn't been announced yet that this is something the White House is doing.
Yeah, and Mark, with all due respect to what you're saying about the fact that the president has the right to do this, certainly does, and it might be a good move to get out and talk to the American people, which he customarily does, but it costs money, Angela. It costs money at a time that we're talking about sequestration and losing money. You're exactly right, Kelly. And listen, 83% of the American people believe that Washington, D.C. has a spending problem. And this 100-city federal spending tour is a prime example. 7 out of 10 Americans today, they've stopped consumer spending. They've cut their spending to save. Why can't Washington, D.C. do the same? And I admire Senator Tom Coburn, who has the bravery to actually go after the president and actually force him to have true transparency. And Mark, what they're doing in this federal tour is offering money, government dole money, when we need to be saving and cutting spending. Well, let me point something else out, too. I want to, real quickly, I want to go to Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood, who issued a warning on Friday, and he says the sequestration could disrupt air travel, causing flight delays at major airports. He adds the cuts could force nearly 100 air traffic control towers to close unless something is done to avoid these draconian and drastic measures of the sequester. But some actually doubt the sequester will actually be as bad as all of that. So what are you two hearing out there among the people that you're talking to?
Well, what I hear, Kelly, is that, people don't want to find out, really. I mean, there are going to be across-the-board cuts, not just to whether or not people will be waiting 90-minute delays in major airport hubs, whether there will be fewer safety inspections at food processing plants, and people's, don't want to necessarily find out the stakes of this. These cuts were designed to be so destructive, so detrimental to the economy, I mean, by some estimates putting 2 million people out of work, that they would never be a palatable option for either Republicans or Democrats.
Mark,
and now you see a lot of Republicans, just real quick, Angela, and then I'll let you go.
Please, because you're giving a monologue.
Republican governors.
Angela, let's give Angela a chance to jump in there. Angela?
Okay.
Mark, the bottom line is this. The American people do want to know. I'm one of those people that I do want to know the effect of sequestration. And secondly, do you remember that President Obama said in 2011, if he got a bill on his desk that would stop these spending cuts, he would veto it. And now he's complaining. Congress is waiting until the last minute when they tried to put forth an effort to stop it. So, Kelly, it's not going to be that bad, but sequestration is 5 days away.
Well, Mark and Angela, here's something else that I think the American people do want to know. They want to know, is there a way to avert this crisis that we're now experiencing? And many people are saying that it's a manufactured crisis. But the president, if you were paying attention to Molly Henneberg's story before we came to you, the president went on to say, we need to take a balanced approach with some strategic cuts on programs and close some tax loopholes that are taken advantage of. But House Speaker John Boehner, as you know, says the president needs to get Democrats to act in Congress. So we've got this back and forth going on. Are you at all optimistic that a last-minute deal can be done to avert the sequester? Angela.
I don't think that...
Mark, go ahead.
I don't think that...
Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
I don't think Democrats are very optimistic, unfortunately, because we've had Republican senators and congressmen say out loud and publicly that they want the sequestration to happen. This is sort of, they don't know what the real world consequences of this sequestration will be, but it fits with their ideological positioning here. It's going to be fairly disastrous. We have this happening in 6 days now. The clock is ticking, and so I encourage any of your viewers to write their congresspeople to learn about this. Go online, and even
Mark,
Bob Woodward,
in his
Angela, let him finish. Let him finish real quickly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark. Finish your statement.
So I think, Republicans are historically about, and to their credit, about fiscal responsibility and about a strong military defense. Now, when we're talking about using a blunt tool to cut military spending by 13%, and to use sort of these cuts that are unstrategic, irrational, just kind of across the board, that defies the tradition of republicanism. That sort of shows the depth of the identity crisis.
Right.
Mark will give Angela the last word
Since
here.
you are a consultant to the Obamacare campaigns, to President Obama, the bottom line is this. This was his irrational idea that he lobbied to Congress. Let's put the truth out there and know we don't want it to happen, but if it has to happen, I'm sure that in the next couple of years, the American people will vote their conscience.
Angela McGlowan, Mark Hannah, we thank you both for sharing your perspectives on what's going on with the sequester. Good day to you both.
Thanks.
Jamie?
A new push by the Obama administration to overturn the Supreme Court